Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/inkdependence. It keeps this channel ad-free. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence. I'm Mike, and this is one of my favorite inks right now. This is from the new Sailor Yurameku line. This is Seki, which is a color that I don't know what to call it. It goes strictly in my weirdo colors area. This whole series of inks shares like a soft tone as well as a multi-chrome shading, very difficult to describe color palette. I got this for $16 from my local ink guy, Crazy Alan, and you can find them usually online for about $20, give or take. So 20 ml bottle, made in Japan, Sailor ink. Sailor ink is always good, and these are kind of outstanding. So looking at the bottle, they have these color swatches, and this is, I mean, sort of close, but as we'll see as we look at this on different papers and from a couple different nibs, this ink will change drastically depending on what paper you're using, what nib you're using, all that. You can see in the bottle, it looks a little bit on the green side. On the lid, just on the inside here, it's kind of, I don't know, green, gray. There's like a tint of brown you're picking up through the glass. It's a weird one. Let's see what it looks like on some paper. This is what it looks like on Rhodia from a couple of different nibs. This is my usual Rhodia 80 grams per square meter paper. You can see here in the swatch, like it's a thin sort of ink, and so it kind of flowed around the lines, which is weird, but it did. You can see that obviously I have it in a very broad nib and a much more normal sort of nib. So I have it in these two pens. The first pen I put it in was this one. Wait, was it? Yeah, it was this one. Because I'm like, oh, it's a kind of a gray. I'm going to put it in this cement gray pen. I'm going to try matching for once. And I mean, like, kinda. This is a medium nib on this TWSBI Eco, and this ink looks great from this nib. As you can see in this like slightly thinner writing sample, you can see there's like little bits of green, there's some brown, there's some gray, there's like a little bit of pink in there. And then because I said, well, what happens if you put down a lot of this? I put it in this pen, which is made by Stacy Robinson, and this has a really wet, broad Yovo nib in it, as you can see there. And this ink looks entirely different in this nib. So there's this ink in this nib. There's the broad nib bit, and then down here, and look at that. Look at how weird that writing sample is, right? You get more shading perhaps, but it's way darker and you lose some bits of color, but also you get an entirely different color palette. And I swear this pen is using the same ink as this one, and I've cleaned it out. It's not like some remnant that's altering it. That's what it looks like, and it's pretty wild, right? Up here in the swatch, look at all that like violet and stuff in the middle. So this is just one paper. We're going to look at it on 3 more papers here in a minute. But this is an ink that I really like, and I need to get even more of these. I have one other color from this line that we'll see here soon. So let's do our water test. We'll look at our chromatography. We'll look at it on some other papers. We'll look at it next to a couple of other weird inks that we might want to compare to it or compare it to. There we go. Oh, wow. Nothing is... Huh. I didn't expect that. Let's drag some over to the text. There we go. Yeah, interestingly, that hasn't moved. It's looking a little bit faded, but I'm not seeing any real movement on the part of this ink. Let's blot it up. That's probably long enough. You never know exactly what you're going to get. I love that. Okay. On the paper... or on the paper towel, almost nothing. A little bit of a green halo. The color left behind is purple, like a lavender color? That's kind of neat. So you art folks who do water washes and things of that nature, this might be a very interesting ink for you to play with, just because it's going to do so many different things for you. Like, whoa. So what is in this ink? Well... the chromatography has a little bit of everything. You've got light blue, you got violet, you got this kind of gray streak up the middle somehow. You've got like highlighter green and highlighter yellow. Just, it's got a lot of stuff going on in Seki here, and I think this is one you should pick up. You may not like it in the first nib you put it in. If that's the case, put it in a different nib. So there we go. All right, let's look at this on some other papers. All right, so here it is on my 20-pound, 30% recycled copy paper from The Staples, the bad copy paper you'll find in your office. And it reacted pretty well here. A little bit of feathering here and there, just a little bit of bleed. I mean, not much. As you've seen before, and as I've said before, most things bleed on this paper. Interestingly, the bleed-through color looks kind of green. While you don't see any green here, that's really interesting. And also, by the way, the broad nib did not seem to do worse than the medium nib. They seem pretty well the same. Maybe just a little bit more bleed through from the broad, but very consistent behavior from two very different nibs that look entirely different on this paper. And you'll also notice they look different than they do on this paper. So fairly, I mean, I guess kind of close. They're still interesting differences. Then I have it here on Domtar Bold 28, which I got from Blank Slate Paper Company. You can make your own, paginations, patterns on the paper and all that sort of thing. Link in the description. And here, it comes off much more purple. Not exactly purple, but a little bit purple. Also, I don't know what I did here. I must have, I don't know, smudged it, or a cat walked on it, or got a drop of water, or I don't know, something, but that's a little bit interesting. And then here, this looks kind of taupe brown, and then more purple and more. Yeah, this is interesting on this paper. No bleed through to speak of. A couple little dots came through here and there. This is a fairly fountain pen friendly paper, but it's not sized. There's no coating, none of that stuff. It's a pretty, it's a papery paper, but it works pretty well with fountain pens. So really interesting on this Domtar. Then next we have our Tomoe River. This is from Galen Leather. This is the old Tomoe River, kind of original Tomoe River. And you can see here, it looks amazing on Tomoe River. So you put Seki on this, it just, that looks so good. And then from the broad, it looks much less different between these two on this paper than it does on a bunch of other papers. And it's got to be because nothing soaks into Tomoe River. But the pink interior with the green sheen, is that a sheen? No, it's just a green colored halo. It's wild. So if you're using Tomoe River, Seki is going to look amazing. Then lastly, this is my currently inked Inky Fingers notebook. This is Wheatstraw paper, which is kind of like sugar cane. You can see here is Seki from that Eco. It looks pretty okay on here. You do get some of that pink character, but it's looking a lot more gray. And then here, even more of that pink character, but kind of the same. So on some papers, you get wild disparity. On some papers, you don't. Some colors come out more on different papers. It's wild. Okay, so let's look at a couple of inks that are sort of like this. Here's Seki on a coloring card. You can find these from Well-Appointed Desk and lots of other vendors. Really good cards for ink swatching. And you see you get a little bit of everything here. A little bit of everything shows up on this one. And so I don't have anything like this. This goes in the weirdo colors section of my Rolodex full of these things. I have here Troublemaker Kelp Tea because I was asked about that one. It's nowhere close. This is so much more green. This is what I kind of thought it would be closer to in my head, but it is absolutely not. It is not like Sailor 123, which is much more purple. I also kind of thought it might be like this Troublemaker Petrichor, but it's not like that at all. And then this is the other Yurameku ink. I do not have any idea how to say this, and the internet won't tell me. So if you know how to say this word, tell me in the comments how you make that with your face, because I don't know what to do with it. I should have asked Don from Atoyo when I saw him last, but I forgot. And I got this one very recently. So this is also gorgeous, and when we see this one, I'm going to rave about it just as much because I love this. So this Yurameku line, very interesting inks. Don't miss these. All right, there you go. Find these at your favorite Sailor purveyor. Like I said, I bought this from my hometown ink shop, and I've also gotten some from Dromgoals. You can find it at Gold Spot or Anderson or lots and lots of places on the interwebs. So, go give them a holler, tell them I sent you, and try out some of these Yurameku inks because They're super duper cool. All right, that's it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you've not already. Follow me with a bell or whatever. I don't know. Do the YouTube things. And you'll see me in a video very soon, I'm sure. Peace out.